masculinity. To some, this is a dirty word, especially when combined with words like toxic. Toxic masculinity. In some households, that description would bring a shudder of horror. Toxic masculinity is a term thrown around in popular culture these days, generally describing a man that uses his brute force to get his way and avoids taking responsibility. To combat this stereotype, media now pushes for the feminized man, passive and hesitant to take a stand. Either is a distortion of true masculinity. Not so long ago, traditional masculine traits would have been sought for and admired. Has our society really changed that much? Are men inherently flawed and prone to violence and irresponsibility? Today I'd like to be an advocate for the return of true masculinity. First, we'll explore how masculinity has declined. Then, what makes a man? And finally, how to raise masculine boys. Now you're probably wondering, how exactly did masculinity decline? Well, the problem in today's society is that our boys are not growing up developing manly skills. Also, our society emphasizes that feminine traits are better and that we should disregard masculine traits because they're too aggressive. Some of this starts in the classroom, which tries to feminize boys at a young age, rewarding sitting still while penalizing fidgety boys for disrupting class. Boys tend to be visual and physical learners, so when cooped up all day doing paperwork, they miss the benefits of active learning and often receive lower grades. According to childtrends.com, 59% of high school dropouts were taught to reject the way they think. Even more serious than that is that 73% of arrests in the United States were men, according to the Criminal Justice Information Services. These crimes are what make people think that masculinity is toxic. Ali Stuckey from Prager University observes, quote, "When you try to make men more like women, you don't get less toxic masculinity, you get more. Why? Because bad men don't become good when they stop being men. They become good when they stop being bad." In addition to society's feminization of men is the rampant epidemic of fatherlessness in this nation. 1 out of 4 homes are fatherless, according to the Andy Casey Foundation. These children often grow up without healthy male role models, and absent fathers fail to display a picture of true manhood, unwilling to stay around and take on the whole responsibility of being an involved father. Their boys in particular are more likely to spiral downwards into a life of crime. According to LiveBot.com, 70% of juveniles in detention institutions were fatherless. So as we can see here, fatherlessness may be the greatest cause of toxic masculinity. So what would healthy manhood look like? Well, to some of you, the image that would pop into your brain would be a picture of the large, strong man, rippling with muscles. Totally me, right? This stereotype of the macho man often discourages young men like myself into thinking that you don't look man enough to be a man. Defining what makes a man and training in manhood is not a new problem. Over 100 years ago, the founder of Boy Scouts, Lord Baden-Powell, a commander of British forces in Africa, saw that his men lacked training in character and life skills. So he wrote a book called Aids to Scouting. This book was not only popular amongst his men, but with young boys, leading to the Boy Scout movement. To help further progress their journey to manhood, he promoted the Scout oath, quote, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight." The Scout law he developed was a list of character qualities. Quote, "A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent." Now these principles are a moral code that gives practical direction to a boy striving to become a man. Now you may be thinking that these are great things for girls to know as well. And I agree, these measurable, practical, biblical principles provide a training process to develop character, which we all need. But if a man lacks character, the impact tends to be greater on families and society. So today I'll be focusing on why it is so critical to develop integrity in men. Now, so in a nutshell, what makes a man? To me, the optimal man is comprised of these values: courage, strength, and honor. Courage is to take initiative to change the world. Strength, to defend your family and your faith. Honor, to give respect when due and to strive to earn it. Let me put this into a real masculine analogy. Envision a sword. Courage is the blade. It is sharp. It can pierce through any obstacle. Strength is the crossguard, the defensive shield for protection. And honor is the handle, for it is wielded by the expert swordsman to harness the power of strength and courage, withheld only by the power of self-control. If a part of this sword were missing, it would be pointless. But that is what we do when we embrace the feminizing of boys. We create swords that are dull, ineffective, and short of potential. So now that we have some guidelines on what a man is, how do you raise one? Well, a boy needs to have good male role models. In addition to men in his community and family, he can find them throughout the pages of history, which I personally love to study. I especially enjoy hearing tales of battle and weaponry, which my older brother and I promptly reenact with sticks and toy swords. We love sword fighting. I have many memories of all the serious fun that we've had. Our mother encouraged our games and believed that this helped nurture our warrior spirit, which is something that all men have. But what many try to do in parenting is to tame out the warrior spirit, only to have it explode later in anger, hatred, and toxic masculinity. My mother would put it this way, quote, instead of suppressing the warrior spirit and trying to tame it, you need to nurture the warrior spirit and try to train it, unquote. Training in the warrior spirit is actually an exercise in withholding your inborn force so that you use just the right amount of strength needed to fight battles without brutalizing your opponent. This is the key to true manhood, power under control. True masculinity prevents against unleashing outbreaks of toxic masculinity. It protects against unrestrained violence. But on a more practical level, how do you train boys in manhood? Well, let's get back to our traits of courage, strength, and honor. Courage is what makes a man strike out beyond his comfort zone to accomplish new things. Courage is what I'm doing right now, public speaking. Courage is the innate ability for a man to be able to operate under symptoms of stress, courage. It often brings out the trait to drive, it often brings out the drive to sacrifice oneself for others. Strength. Strength is the ability to function like a man, work like a man, and withstand pain like a man. Recently, my brother and I chopped down a lot of trees in our yard. Now, I personally believe that wood chopping is one of the most manly jobs on the planet. Work is very beneficial to young men. Not only does it develop muscle, but it grows the servant's heart, willing to do work without being asked. Work's also great because it helps train your strength into helping others instead of hurting them. Strength is necessary to defend your family, your faith, and your honor. Honor. Honor is the most important point of masculinity. Honor is like your dominant hand. Without it, life can be pretty tough. An honorable man is highly esteemed because he has a good character and a reputation for integrity. But honor must be earned. How can it be earned? Step by step, day by day, training in the small battles of life leads to a good character, as well as a lifestyle of honor. Knowing how to be a man is important, but knowing how to be a good man, that's crucial. One of the many heroes of World War II that I find fascinating is the story of Desmond Doss, portrayed in the movie Hacksaw Ridge. He was an unlikely individual, scrawny like myself, and not terribly strong. Not only that, but he was a conscientious objector, which means he would not carry weapons due to his beliefs, relying only on God and his word. It was because of this that many thought he was a coward rather than courageous, but he was determined to serve as a battlefield medic. When the Army finally agreed to let him serve as a medic, he was deployed to the island of Okinawa during the Battle of Hacksaw Ridge. This frail man carried more than 75 wounded men to safety in the midst of the battle, proving his mental and physical strength. Courage, strength, and honor are the makings of a real man. Teach your children these things and they will be like the sword, courageous, strong, and honorable. They'll be fathers, leaders, and heroes. Will you train your sons to be men?